Hello, Recovery fam. Welcome back to the Unashamed Recovery podcast, where we believe there is healing in the story of our scars and that it is okay to not be okay.
It is our mission to break the shame and stigma of addiction in recovery by sharing real stories of real addiction from real people in real recovery and real sobriety.
We share stories straight out the pit, stories of hope.
I'm your host, Josh.
I'm your co-host, Drew.
And I put the fun in dysfunctional. I'm Palmer.
And roll that intro.
The Unashamed Recovery Podcast.
That's how it's done.
The Unashamed Recovery Podcast.
The Unashamed Recovery Podcast with Josh, Drew, and Palmer starts now.
And this is episode 62, Matti the Madhatter.
Woo!
Oh my gosh.
Today we are joined by our guest, Matti Aughenbaugh, who came all the way up here to join us in good old Mississippi from sunny Florida. Matti, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Unashamed Recovery Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can I ask the first question?
Sure.
What were you thinking coming to Mississippi? It's cold right now.
Well, it felt like going in the middle of nowhere, I'll tell you.
It is. Welcome. Welcome to the trees.
I mean,
Welcome
she
to the
literally leaves
sticks.
the sunny beaches.
That's right.
To come to the wooded nowhere.
Hey.
Wooded nowhere.
The wooded nowhere.
Even the sign was really like, just, here's Mississippi.
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't anything spectacular.
It's a warning. Don't.
That's
cross-
right.
Or Florida, it's like, welcome, Disney's here, fun.
Right. You know.
Yeah.
Welcome to the beaches.
Mississippi sounds like welcome to diabetes.
Yeah. I mean, even the GPS when I go to Florida, it's like, welcome to Florida. Mm-hmm. When I'm coming back, it's like, welcome to Mississippi.
Yeah, you do get like this little notification. Like it's a small one, you know?
Welcome. Yeah. Welcome back. You're headed home.
We don't want you here.
Well, we are so glad that you have taken the time to drive all this way and to join us and to come on here and share your story with us. And we're just going to hop right to it, Matti, as we get into your story and we open this thing up. What does chapter 1 look like? What would chapter 1 be called for your story?
Down the rabbit hole, literally.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's simple and it's kind of foreboding. It
Yeah.
kind of gives us this glimpse into what's to come. So go ahead and take us into this. So where does Matti Aughenbaugh's story start out?
Well, I'll start my story that I struggled with alcohol, weed, and cocaine and codependency. It kind of started before I was even born, really, because my family was ravaged by alcoholism before I was born. My grandfather was a chronic alcoholic who ended up committing suicide in 1986, and my mother tried Alateen. She didn't like it. She was like, I'm not part of these losers, different low lives. Like, no, you know.
All right, so for listeners who don't know what like Al-Anon, Alateen, all that is, that's basically support for somebody who's dealing with alcoholism.
Right.
That's the way for the teens or a spouse to learn how to better help the alcoholic cope with life. Mm-hmm. So that way they can be a partner with them through their process of trying to find recovery and help. So
Thanks, Drew.
You're welcome.
Well, I like that you point that out because alcohol touches not only the sufferer, but it touches
The entire
anyone the
family.
sufferer touches.
Right.
I mean, it touches everybody's lives.
Yeah, you know, that's what I really like about this podcast is we have people that tune in here that have nothing, like they don't have an addiction. We have plenty of people that listen that they're not struggling with an addiction, but they're just as affected by it because they got a family member. And so they listen to get tips and to hear, hey, what can I do to better to handle this? And so
and better understand what that person's going through.
Yeah. So we're always getting people that, man, the whole thing with addiction is foreign to them. So yeah, I'm glad you did that, Drew. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So continue on, Matti.
Wait, hold. The only reason he did it is because I looked at it and went, what's How he get all the credit?
Thanks for asking, Palmer.
You're welcome.
I didn't want to embarrass you.
Well, I don't mind. I don't know how long you've been here, but I am okay with embarrassing me. Hello, welcome to the podcast.
We know.
I'm Captain Chaos over here.
Yeah.
Captain Chaos. All right.
So Mom didn't want to go through Alateen. So
No, but my grandmother joined Al-Anon, which, as you described, it was one of those meetings that helped the wife of the alcoholic, or the husband of the alcoholic, or the immediate family member. So my family had a lot of trauma to begin with. But then when I was born in 1992, I was the first joy my family had. You know, a whole new fresh start. There's a new baby in the mix. But, you know, damage was done. And my personal insanity began because I had child abandonment, child abuse, and culture shock. My father wanted to adopt me, and my mother wanted to keep me. You know, they were never together. They were just college students that got together, you know. And, you know, at the time, if you look back and I think about it, my mother was promiscuous with all that trauma, you know, because I have 5 half-siblings on her side of the family. Wow. And, you know, growing up, me and my sister would be like, well, do you want the long story or the short story? We got, like, a lot of siblings here, you know. You know, I mean, and, you know, I didn't have a religious background probably because of shame, you know, maybe, I don't know. But I do know that I thought churches were child care centers, you know. Because my mom utilized them for free child care.
You were not the first one.
Yeah.
Eat.
Yeah, and they would like talk about Jesus and stuff, and I'm like, Jesus who? Who cares? I just roll my eyes every time, you know. And that was before I was
I'm here for the food.
9 years old. Yeah.
That's right, feed.
I'm here to color.
Yeah.
You know.
We have a saying around here: if you feed them, they will come.
Oh, absolutely.
They will come.
But here's the fantastic part about that. Like, you might not have understood it then, but a seed was being planted.
Oh, absolutely.
It just took it a while to sprout.
Oh,
but, you
for
know,
sure.
That's how God works, man. And
We never know when that seed is going to sprout.
Nope. But, you know, it's always planted at an early age. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But, yeah, so with all of that, I started acting out, and I didn't listen. I did whatever I wanted. No discipline could work on me. You know, I was self-will run riot. Like, I am who I am, and no one's going to tell me no. You know, because I didn't have a father figure, and my mom was always gone. She went out of the country a lot as a kid, and I guess now that I look back and asked her, she was only gone every summer, but to me, I felt like forever. Like, she was just never around. I was always raised by my grandmother or child care centers or babysitters.
Or churches.
Or churches, you know.
the child care center.
So, but, you know, eventually she got a new job working for the government in D.C., so she moved us from our little white community in Illinois and jumped us over to Washington, D.C. area, where that was a culture shock for me, because all white community, you know, and then now I'm the minority, you know.
Yeah.
That was rough. I came home every day crying, every single, you know, bus ride. I was bullied. I was now white, stupid, ugly, and just did not belong. And that was really hard for me, you know, and that was about 9 months to a year, and then my mother got us out of there, and she moved us south to southern Maryland. And that's where I was a lot happier. You know, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, but being there, I was alone. I got to live in my own fantasy world. Like, I would ride my bike and live out in the country. I'm like, yeah, I pretend I live here or there, you know. I just trying to deal with all of the chaos, really. But, you know, one thing that stuck, that kept me with my identity growing up, is back in Chicago and Illinois area, we have real winters. So I grew up figure skating. So figure skating was part of my identity from a young age. And my mom kept me in figure skating in Maryland and D.C. area. That was the only thing, you know, I'll tell you, I was a good skater because I put a lot of my anger on that ice. You know?
So,
For you Mississippi
your
people,
escape,
figure
basically.
skating is on
That was your
ice.
escape.
That was my muse, 100%.
Happens during wintertime.
That's where I
So-
could go.
So the first time I ever encountered trying to skate on ice was
Lord.
2 years ago in Gatlinburg.
You tipped over, didn't you?
And no, I couldn't let go of the wall.
Did you fall down head first?
I didn't fall down, but like I was terrified the whole time. And like Kenley has done got ahead of me and he's like going making laps around me, and I'm like just holding to the wall, praying to God that I can make it through this. Like,
Yeah, I'd be the one skating around the ice and just shoving a whole bunch of snow on you and doing the big old hockey
Let's
stop.
go.
Just running laps. Yeah, no, it was great. I really love figure skating. Blades of Glory with Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Me and my sister would get on the ice. We would do his little dances and stuff on the ice. Like I would be Chaz Michaels, and she would be the other guy, and we would do the little fancy dances. Oh, it was so fun because I have brunette hair and she's blonde, so it was just perfect. We had so much fun. Like,
We need video of that.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
it was
that's
really
good
great.
stuff.
Where's
Yeah.
the evidence?
It was very, very fun.
So growing up, you were just that. You said that was wrapped up in your identity was the figure skate.
Yeah, that's the only thing I had that was the solid foundation that was constant. Obviously, moving around and my mom coming and going, but I always had figure skating. I would do shows and stuff, and I didn't compete until later on in life, but I really enjoyed that. That took me away and got me out of my crappy life, to my opinion.
So that was your escape out of the hole, basically. Yeah.
Big part of it.
Right, you're living in the rabbit hole, but every now and again you get to poke your head out and play a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly.
I like it.
Well, and then, at 13, after we lived in Maryland for a little while, my mother met and married my now stepdad. That was hard and rough because I never had a father figure, and all of a sudden we're going to be this family, and my mom had never married before, so this was very, very different. And, before he came in, after all the child abuse trauma and everything prior, I decided that I'm going to be man of the house, and then here's this man coming in like, you going to be man of the house? I don't know about that, I refused to bow down, I mean, I remember there was one year he gave us like Valentine's gifts and stuff, and everyone's getting them, and I'm just like, this is a trick. He thinks I'm going to surrender? No. No. So, I was really angry, and I was very rageful, and, so then my aunt and uncle lived near the ice rink up in D.C. area, so every weekend we would ice skate. We would get up at the crack of dawn, drive up there, go ice skate. We'd skate for like 6-8 hours a day every Saturday. Man. So that was a big deal. But we would go to my aunt and uncle's house, and they supported us, and I would stay there on weekends a lot. Probably better for the family anyway. But, going there a couple times, one time my uncle gave me my first drink when I was like about 13 years old. He's just like, oh, you want to try something? I was like, sure, whatever. I don't know. And he's like, all right, don't tell your aunt.
Right.
I'm like, okay, whatever. And, he asked me if he did anything for me. I said, no, just want to go to bed, whatever. But then another time, like a month later, my aunt gives me alcohol too, and she's like, don't tell your uncle.
Don't tell your uncle.
So both didn't know that they were giving me this, and I was like, I don't care. This is great. It's taking the weight of the world off of me. I'm not pissed for the first time.
Right. So now you found a different muse. Mm-hmm. And so if you were so involved in ice skating, 6 to 8 hours a day, so now I can only imagine where this is leading. As far as your next muse, your next escape.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
Well, and you were only being able to ice skate one day a week, 2 days a week at most. So, like, something that...
It was only so much that could work.
Right. So, obviously, at some point, you were going to find something else to...
Right.
Eventually, yeah, that would make sense, But, my parents didn't drink. My mom didn't drink. My stepdad didn't drink, So I didn't really know what alcohol was. That's the only place I could get it or knew of it. But, a year later, when I was 14, I didn't even have a permit to drive yet, and I decided I'm going to steal my stepdad's truck. I'm going to go out with my friends, me and my girlfriend. Like, we lied about who was with who, and my parents are out of town. I break their window, I steal a truck key, and we're out joyriding, going to dinner, pick up our friends, go to a movie, and we get pulled over at midnight coming back home. And the police officers arrested us. She's crying. She feels so remorseful, and like, we did bad, and I'm just like, I don't care. I didn't cry. I had no remorse. I mean, I just hated my life.
A little apathetic?
No, I did not care. Because when my parents
Like, I
rushed.
didn't feel nothing.
Right.
I mean, I was reminded that I was very terrified of what my stepdad was going to do, but I already done it. Like, who cares? I didn't think about the consequences. I
Right.
just did it because I was pissed and I don't like you. you know. But then my parents rushed home and everything, and they wanted to send me away, and all these different instances happened. But, you know, we ended up having to go down to the police station because I was underage, so they had to wait for my parents and all that other weird stuff. And I got, you know, fingerprinted. I was getting mugshot. That was surreal. I was like, whoa, this is probably kind of cool. Like, I'm getting a mugshot right now.
Going to jail.
That's the wrong
I mean, that's
answer.
right.
Wrong answer.
Where most kids are like, I don't want to go. She's over here like, I want to see the back.
Yeah.
Is there TVs? What's the beds like?
Did y'all ever see Varsity Blues?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, tweeter. He's like, I'm going to jail. You know, Maddie's over there like, I'm still in the cop car. Let's go.
Right. Well, I don't know if it was like a thing or something my parents did or just they had to hold me, but they put me in the jail cell for a little while. And I didn't even think anything then either. I was just like,
Telling you.
this is quiet, you know. Yeah, all right.
So-
I can vibe
So
with
now
this.
you found the
but-
This is a vacation.
So have you found
Yeah.
comfort there in that?
Yeah, because the cell felt as cold as I did inside, so I totally resonated with it.
Wow, that's interesting.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Put that on the t-shirt.
Seriously. I mean, the cell really, I remember sitting there, and I'm just like, it's kind of cold in here, but I vibe.
I'm used to it.
Man,
I did not
This
care.
feels like home.
Yeah.
So is it peaceful because you didn't have to deal with stepdad? You didn't have to deal with all the outside noise.
All of a sudden, life was quiet for
Yeah.
once. There was
Yeah.
nothing to bother me.
So it's almost an escape again. Mm-hmm. So did
Wow,
you do
so
everything
there's
you
this
could to
pattern.
stay in?
Yeah, it's
No,
literally like a vacation.
no.
I mean, you're away from life's going,
And you're sitting still.
and then when you got into the cell, it's just like,
All of a
So
sudden,
this
life
is
was
what
quiet.
peace feels like.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
that's great that you put it that way because that was my first moment of clarity and peace. But it not ding, ding, ding. We got problems, girl.
no, it's
It was more like,
wanna
I
stay
find
here.
comfort here.
That's right. I
Yeah.
like to be here.
well, I hope my wife doesn't hear this episode because as chaotic as my wife's life is, like she would try to find a way to go get a break at jail.
Like, I wonder how hard I have to hit him to spend a weekend. Just a weekend.
Right? Now that she knows it's a relaxing spot. Yeah.
What do I have to steal? Like,
No. You don't want to steal anything because then you'll be gone for a while.
yeah, you know,
So just punch him.
Yeah.
Just hard enough to get a weekend pass.
3 days.
I'll say it makes
He's
it a
been
little
deserving
easier
this
when
for
you're
a couple
under
years
18.
now.
That's right.
Right? So
Well,
all this is happening at the age of 13,
I'm 14 at
14.
this point. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I had to have community service. I had probation for like a year and stuff, and that was fun. I had to go on a horse farm, and I had to clean up stables. It stunk, but it was nice. I mean, no family. It was a farm.
God is literally
You
trying to
really-
like open your eyes.
You really are the Mad Hatter. Like,
It
in the
I'm
midst of
telling
all,
you.
in the midst of
felt the
all
way
the
she sat down.
craziness, she's like, I kind of like it here. These are my people.
I wear many hats.
They're all in
but
my-
this one is mine.
They're all in my head, but these are my people.
Yeah, So it
So
rained.
it's like God's really trying to give you wake up
Yeah,
call.
he's
wake
like,
up
hey.
call,
I'm just
wake
like,
up
that's
call.
cool. I'll bury my. I'll lay here. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, it wasn't enough. No.
I will
Shovel
take this punishment.
So
Yeah.
shovel some horse manure, no problem. Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
What else you got?
Nice and quiet out here.
I
It's
would hate to
just
see if
me
they
and the
waterboarded you or
horses.
something like. I'm surfing right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like this is another escape.
I like this.
It was, I saw my mom taught me to think positively, and I did.
She was finding the silver lining. I can't fault her for that. Cannot fault her for that. She
I
was
can.
finding the silver lining.
I can. That's crazy. I've been there. It's usually in a padded room. I've been there too.
Yeah,
Did they tie you up? Did the whole?
Oh yeah.
maybe that would have changed my mind a little faster.
Well,
Yeah.
we can hook that up for you. if
No,
you're still having
thanks. I'm good
issues.
today.
Right here behind door number 1.
So how long did you have to stay there at the horse farm?
I honestly can't remember. I think it was only like 16 days or something. It was like 30 hours or something. I did like 8 hours a day or something. But there was one day it rained, and they had me clean the office. And I was in the basement of the office, and there was a liquor bottle. And
Because it's a horse farm.
yeah, whatever.
Have you
But I
seen
found.
the shows?
that liquor bottle, and I just chugged it. I didn't think anything of it, just chugged a few swigs, no big deal.
I'm assuming you're not much bigger now than you were then.
No, about the same size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I knew that I was getting picked up soon, so I had to quickly, hide this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I found a bunch of lollipops. I ate 6 of them. I had a blue tongue, and I smelled like fruit with a little bit of a kick.
A little bit of kick. That's
Nobody
how I like
said
it.
anything, so I guess it worked.
Man, them lollipops, they smell a little familiar.
Right?
Probably.
It's
Man, wait, who picked
Jack
you up?
Daniels flavored blow pops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Who picked you up that day? Do you remember?
It was my stepdad. He was probably too pissed to even say anything.
Your stepdad's like, maybe it's me.
Probably.
That
But
smell,
he didn't
maybe-
drink this.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My bad.
But he was also very angry at the time, so who knows? He probably just couldn't take anymore and say anything else because obviously
Right.
Not
nothing.
even talking
I
about
really
it.
don't know. I couldn't say. So, but my friend who I got arrested with, they told my parents, we don't just send our kids away when they do wrong. What we do instead is we keep them, we direct them, we love them, and we teach them. And I heard that when we and her were sitting on the steps, eavesdropping, And my parents made a different decision and decided to keep me and not send me away. So then I got thrown into getting a job at 14. I was only a sophomore in high school, and I had to walk a mile down the road and pass all the drug dealers and homeless people. But I couldn't drive yet, and I was already had a record, and,
Right.
and I had to go walk. So that was my
Might as
punishment.
well extend it,
Yeah, so I'm like, whatever. And even doing that walk of shame to work every day after school, I still wasn't bothered. I was just like, whatever, I'm tough, I got this. And
She
then,
skipped the whole way.
Yep.
yeah,
she's like-
I was listening to music, like whatever.
Yeah.
It was a nice workout.
So literally, the house could blow up, and you're gonna walk out just flipping the hair.
Yeah, probably.
A little Harley Quinn over here.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. I said I look all sweet and innocent, but no, wait till you hear me talk. But so I got that job. It worked for a little while. I got fired because I didn't show up. 2 months later,
Yeah, and why didn't you show up?
I was with my boyfriend.
Of course.
Of course.
Now you really sound like my Maddie.
But I did better than the second job because they got me a car. I don't know. Now I'm 15. So in Maryland, you could be 15 in 9 months and have a license and drive. So my mom made sure I was able to get my license as soon as I was able. They were doing anything to just keep me going, flowing, to grow up, to get out of the house because I just did not
Fit
fit
the
in.
mold.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
teach you about life here.
And
I need you to go that way.
Yeah.
Not I'm trying to kick you out, but I'm trying to teach you.
Be independent.
Right.
And I was not getting it at all. So.
You were independent.
Well, yeah, just not in the
Independently in
right
trouble.
Wrong way.
Independently in trouble. That's a great way of putting it.
She's
I
like,
never
I got
thought of it
this.
that way.
I know where crazy is. I live here.
You might be Captain Chaos Palmer, but this one over here sounds like the queen of it. So.
Yeah. Just a little bit. So I only did really good at this job because these people I worked with, I worked at KFC, and they entertained my insanity. They would buy me alcohol. They would let me take all the buckets of chicken I wanted at high school parties.
Wow.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the whole tray. Is that good? Yeah, sure. I got another one coming. I was like, all right. I take all the sides.
I figured you were, so I cooked more.
Yeah, right. I was not popular in school, though, because, I'm a figure skater, so I was not involved in any sports. I only did my solitary sport, where no one could tell me anything, except my coach. I listened to that person, because tell me what's up.
Right.
How to do better,
That is awesome, though, that, you had the mindset of, that person knows more than I do.
I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here to listen and learn.
Amen.
Only to the people who have what I want.
Amen.
Yeah, I get that.
So you
Nobody
must,
else wanted what I...
So once
had
you
what I
found
wanted.
once you found Jesus,
Oh, he's got what I want.
exactly. That's,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Can't
I
get
know,
enough of him.
I know we jumping ahead, but that makes a whole lot of sense because you're willing to listen to the person
That's
that can
right.
get you what you want. And when we finally found Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
we realized that's the person that can get us what we want.
Absolutely. I
Sorry.
love that you put that perspective in there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm
That
learning
is
a lot
awesome.
myself.
Palmer had a deep moment here. Drew.
Yeah. Look at that.
I'll edit it out.
Mark that one down. Whoa. We're going to keep breaking
Let's
to
go
that
back
one.
to the
No,
hole.
I'll edit that.
He sounded smart.
I gotta quit that. That's not my bag of tricks.
Should we switch roles here?
No, nope. No, I got this. I'm going back to crazy. Thank you.
I missed my opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so you're an athlete. You're only for your figure skating. You're only gonna do. I like it. You remind me of me too, because and when I was your age, when I was that age, I'm only doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me nothing.
Absolutely.
So I feel you.
Oh,
now, the difference was I was not an athlete. I played sports, but I was not an athlete. I didn't listen to the coach. The coach couldn't tell me nothing either. I've been kicked off more football teams than I can even count.
See, and that's why I did figure skating, because you can't get kicked off when you're the only team.
Oh, well,
You're the only person.
there you go.
You got a point. All right, so we got the alcoholism, we've got jail, we've got walking to KFC. So
Well, now we're
this is
driving. Now we're driving
So
to
now we're
KFC.
driving.
now we're driving. I'm sorry.
At least we're
driving.
not
We're
walking
driving,
past
we're driving.
drug dealers
Now
anymore.
we're
So
driving.
Now
how did we
now we
get?
got the car.
Yeah, how did we get to the drug dealers if we actually? I'm proud of you. You walked past the drug dealers and we hadn't got there yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
No,
that,
because
I
I
thought
was
that's
so
what was
adamant
coming.
about never doing drugs.
Just the alcohol.
How many
Because-
times have we said, "Don't ever say I'm not going to do that"?
Well,
I would
hold
never
on.
do that.
I got to add in a point. I had a heart condition. And I had heart surgery when I was 5. So that kept me away from hard drugs.
Gotcha.
That
makes
I
sense.
wanted to live. I'm trying to have fun, not die.
That's right.
Right.
I'm with you.
You know? So
Well, I mean, that's every addict has said, I'm trying to have fun, not die.
Trying to have fun.
well, you got a point there. But so now I'm 16 and I'm working at the KFC. I'm going to parties, and I decided I like this guy at school because he drank. And this is my first time actually asking those coworkers to buy me a 5th of Jack Daniels. And I went and got that guy, and we hung out together. Immediately, I got blackout drunk, embarrassed myself, and I threw up all over my car. I don't know how I got him dropped off, but I remember waking my parents up at like 3 in the morning because I parked my car like in the yard and half on the driveway or half on the porch because I had to vacuum the throw up. You know, I didn't want them to know what I just went through.
Half on the porch.
Yeah, it was like a small porch. It was
okay.
like, you know, not like big steps. It was just like,
thinking-
Oh, I'm over here
no, we're
like,
thinking like a small little step,
how did you get it?
low level. Yeah.
Like a stoop.
Yeah,
It had to
that's
be to
stupid.
where you could bring the vacuum from the house out to the car.
I get the point, but I thought you parked it like I got this envision of the porch being 3 or 4 steps up, and you done
No, we're talking
got
one
half
step
the car
up.
That's how you get
Well,
you woke
we're-
up the parents because you
So
parked.
we have the visualization of country homes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Country
I forgot
homes.
this is Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay.
She parked on
Yeah.
a stoop.
You can't have like basements there, being around Chesapeake Bay and whatnot. It's not very common. So it's just a small like bungalow home. Nothing crazy.
Gotcha.
But I do remember them coming out, just like, "What on earth are you doing?" "Oh, just clean up," and I'm still all drunk.
She's like, I'm just vacuuming the car.
Fixing the problem.
I thought 3 a.m. was a good time to vacuum, Mom. It's a good time.
I didn't want them to know.
You got this loud thing outside.
That's right. I didn't even think about that. No wonder she woke everybody up. The whole neighborhood's up going, what are you
What's going
doing?
on? Yeah.
I'm mowing the grass. Shut up.
Mopping pavement.
If this was Amber's story, it'd be like, I'm not an addict. I am not drunk.
That's right.
I don't have a problem.
I have no problem. This
Right.
is normal.
But anyway,
man.
that boyfriend, I was like, I didn't know I was codependent then. I found it later on, actually like a few months ago, which is really interesting.
Hindsight, you were codependent, but in the moment, you didn't know that.
Yeah. So that boyfriend ended up cheating on me, and I became insane because everyone knew that he was cheating, but they couldn't tell me because I was providing food and alcohol. So it's just like, now I know something's going on, but I didn't know for truth until eventually that girl just said something, and they started calling me really sick names and stuff. And now I'm the side piece, and I didn't know it. So I became really insane and crazy, and I drank, and I just was always, I just drank over all my feelings then. And eventually, you know, I drank so much to blackouts every time, and people call me names, that I hated my life really bad then, because it just took off at 16, just crazy with the alcohol and the parties. And so pretty much with everything going on at that time, I really hated my life. I didn't have any friends, and I decided one day, why don't I just die? No one cares about me anyway. My parents are always mad at me. You know, I don't have any friends. Nobody loves me. I should just run into that tree. And we're out in the country of Southern Maryland, and I wasn't far from home, and I was just out driving, thinking these things. And I remember I let go of the wheel, and I just let my car go, closed my eyes. And then last second, before the car hit the tree, I grabbed the wheel. And in that moment, I had a clarity that, wow, I really don't want to die. I really don't. I really want to live. So I just kind of let it go, brushed it under, and just said, you know what, I don't know what to do with my life, but I know that I am pissed, and I'm full of rage, and I don't know why, and I'm tired of exploding, you know. So, and then after that, I just kind of became numb, you know, and I just had nothing nice to say to anybody. You know, my mother always used to tell me, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I was like, well, all right. I was quiet because I had nothing nice to say ever. I hated all of you, and I degraded everybody. No, you told me not to talk. Done. Yep. Fine.
I wish my kids would learn that. Like, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, just hush. And they're like, no.
But it made me implode. You know?
Right? No, I get it. It's bad.
Yeah, this is real bad.
We really need you to talk, but sometimes it's just like, just don't say it.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of toxic waste that you hold inside whenever you go silent, and you just, I mean, it's survival mode is where you're at.
Yeah.
And so you're fighting an inside battle, an outside battle, and it's just becoming waste and weight.
Yeah.
Can I go? I want to go back to, you know, when you let go of the wheel and like right before you hit the tree, you had that clarity. And something I had actually read before is 99% of the people that have jumped off San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge, that have survived, all of them said halfway after, as soon as they jumped, they wish they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, it was at that moment where it's like, I wish I had not done this, and I want to live. And a lot of people probably had that thought and still didn't make it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just, that's an amazing part, in my opinion, part of this story is an amazing part that you're able to still be here to tell that.
Right.
Because I really think a lot of people should hear that.
Yeah.
Even when you're at your breaking point and you think there's nowhere else to go and I want to die, like if you ever truly get to that point and you pull the trigger, 9 times out of 10, after you pull that trigger or let go of that wheel or jump off that bridge, you're gonna regret it. That thought's
well,
going to be.
I'd have to say that in that moment, you know, that's by the grace of God working, you know, Holy Spirit taking me and my body over, like, whew, girl, you know, because it was a big old grab and turn, you know, and then I'm like, like waking up from the choice.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, okay, wow, I really don't want to die. That's not the solution. Okay.
That's right. There's got to be something better.
Yeah. So, you know.
And that proves that God just, I mean, he had you.
I knew he did.
He knew later on that, like, I got so much more for you. Like, you have no idea. We're gonna walk through this season. It might be really long season, but we're gonna walk through it. And as soon as we're done with this season, I promise you, life is gonna be so much better.
Right.
So did things get better?
Probably not right away after you
Not
total
for
a
a hot
car.
minute.
After that laugh, I'm thinking not.
After you total a car, trust me, I know.
Well,
Mom and Dad don't like you very much. For
If somebody chuckles like that after you say, "Did it get better?" That probably means no.
Well, there was some more coping things that kind of ended up happening instead. So, I don't know. After that and all the fighting and
You
stuff.
do realize that the silent treatment that you were giving everybody is a form of coping. It's a coping mechanism.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But I mean, I learned more coping
Now.
mechanisms from my mother this time.
Oh, Lord.
You know? So now my
Promiscuous mom?
yes, with moral standards she does have, but she made some bad choices in the beginning.
Gotcha.
But anyway, my mother would take us on long road trips, me and my 3 or 4 siblings at the time. And my brother lived in Illinois. Well, his dad did. So we would have to drive across country pretty often, go back and forth. So I learned the art of letting go and just moving on, running from our problems, just going to go on vacation. We would change the passes of a theme park every year and just have a grand old time. Anytime I had like disgruntles or stressors about high school or this or that, I'll let it go. Let's go to the theme park. You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was. We didn't talk about anything. Oh, I love theme parks.
Maybe
They're my
that's why
therapy.
I like theme parks.
Yeah, because you get to scream your head off and no one cares.
Yeah. And it's like almost dying. You know,
But-
I
but
mean,
you don't, 'cause you're strapped in,
That's
you
right,
know?
because you're strapped in. You know what I mean? Like if
That
that,
is
thing
one way to look
if
at
that
it.
thing comes apart, you ain't got nowhere to go,
She wouldn't care.
dude.
At that point.
I just had so much fun. You know,
I'm just
I know
saying, like,
I'm kidding.
those were really good though, because if you point that out, I got a lot of screaming out that was imploding. Right, I got a lot of it out on those roller coasters.
Right.
there you go.
So I didn't think
Drew
about it that way. So
Palmer's
that's
2
pretty
for
cool.
2.
Yeah.
That's because we're both crazy over here. You two just sit there. We'll take care of this.
You know. Sometimes
It's like watching a dumpster fire.
He's talking about me, not you.
I know.
I'm talking-
I
I'm
know.
definitely talking
I'm an
about
angel
Palmer.
over here.
That's right. Amen. Amen. There's so much crazy on this side of the table that you have no idea that you're actually pretty normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Normal trauma. Yeah.
All right, so me and you, we connect. We like to go to theme parks, and that's where you
And
hung
scream
out
your heads off.
and
Yeah.
scream your heads off, and that's
great.
where you spent your summers.
It's great therapy.
I love it.
Not even summers. It was like middle of the school year. Like
Just all the
every
time.
other weekend.
Your parents are like
kinda
me
stuff.
then. It's like, hey,
My
I wanna
mom
go to
likes
Universal
the
this weekend.
vacation. Absolutely. But yeah, you know, and then now at 17, I was a junior in high school, and my parents welcomed my 5th half sibling, a baby sister. So we had to get a bigger house. So we bought a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house, which was perfect because no one had to hang out together.
that's right.
You know, like you get a room, you get a space, bathroom, you know, all of that. You know,
Not in my house.
there was no family
I think
dinners.
we were literally
you
talking
know.
about that on the way
Yes.
up here.
It was very different. It was great because to me, I could, you know, it kind of reminded me of that jail cell. Like,
Yeah.
shut that door, got my own bathroom, own bedroom. Like, it's quiet. in
Was
here.
it cold in there too?
It actually, I had the coldest room in the whole house too.
It was cold, like our heart.
Yeah,
So anyway,
but
so we're back to this comfort and isolation.
But even though we moved 30 minutes away and I had to go to a new high school, you know, I had a whole new start, new friends. Actually, I knew nobody, so it was great. But every weekend I lied, and I started living 2 lives at this point because my family was busy working for the government a lot, and, you know, they weren't too worried about me as far as I can remember. Every weekend I would say, I'm going to work. But I would drive 30 minutes south to go hang out with those old friends that I had that were not friends, that were still using me for alcohol and food or whatever, because I kind of still was in between KFC and some other new job. But by living 2 lives, every weekend I would go and hang out with those friends. I would pound liquor like it was Kool-Aid. You know, I didn't know what pre-gaming was. I just drank until I blacked out, and, you know, I would always pass out before the party always started, so I'm the girl passed out in all the high school photos. That's great. You know, but I thought about it, and I thought it was probably better, so I didn't get called names and made a fool of myself. Rather just be passed out. Because I didn't want to exist, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in the back seat. Someone else can live, you know. I just didn't know how to live. So, but then at this point, weed started coming around, and I started smoking weed, and I found out I liked that more because I could control myself a little bit more, and I didn't get quite so crazy, and I could maintain some behaviors, I guess, or words that I'd said,
Right.
or sleeping with certain people, because eventually I started sleeping with my group of friends. Like, I would be with one guy for a while and then another guy for a while, and then of course I started getting called sick names. I just was codependent. I didn't know how to handle anything in life,
Right.
But, interestingly enough, at that new high school, I had joined a psychology class. I really enjoyed that because I got to learn a lot about the brain. Because I felt in my heart that, I don't know, that seems interesting because there's something. I've had an idea that something might be wrong with me, but I didn't really at the same time because I lived in a dysfunctional family, so it seemed kind of normal at the same time. And everyone else I hung out with was also doing similar stuff. But, when Facebook was invented that year, I'm 17, I actually found my dad and my stepmom on Facebook. They lived just outside Chicago, and I decided to go meet him and his family. That was a big pivotal moment in my life because here I am with these people, which I have to add that now that I met them, I'm officially the eldest in my family of a total of 10 children. So I'm the oldest of 9 in my generation. So I have a lot of siblings. But when I met them, I was very excited, but it was very interesting because my siblings excelled in school. They had family dinners. Everyone supported each other. There was open communication. They went to Catholic church. And I thought they were really weird. That's just really weird to me. It was foreign. It was a whole other world, know?
It's just, it's so different.
Drastically different.
It's such a contrast.
Mm-hmm. So I immediately went back home, and I was like, wow, there's something wrong with me and my family, And I knew something needed to change, but I didn't know what.
Couldn't be me.
No, not at all. It was my family. Because obviously it was the environment.
She was putting the fun in dysfunctional.
That's right. Everybody else is crazy, not me.
No, it's not me at all. It's the environments, right? At this point, I didn't learn that, it was the environments. I thought that's what it was. So I was so distraught over this contrast that I actually skipped the first 6 months of my senior year of high school. I was too busy sleeping in my car. I wasn't really drinking. I wasn't really smoking. I don't really remember it. I was too numb that I almost didn't graduate. So my mom had this idea, why don't you go live with your dad? Well, so I did, and they accepted me, and that was great. And I knew not to drink alcohol moving in with my dad. But I still smoked weed, and I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I got new friends and whatever, did whatever I wanted. And then I eventually got snake bite piercings on my lips, and they kicked me out for my behavior even without drinking, and I was completely perplexed.
They kicked you out for the piercings?
The piercings, the
Smoking
smoking
the weed.
weed, the
Oh, okay.
cigarettes.
Rebellious attitude.
But it wasn't drinking. I thought I was good.
Right.
Yeah.
She thought drinking was going to be the problem that got her kicked out.
Yeah, no, it
But then
wasn't
she got kicked out without the drinking.
because of my behavior. And I thought, this
And this
is
was
normal.
with
normal.
the Catholic family.
Yeah.
So we get kicked out of our house. So what do we do now?
Well, I was only 2 months away from graduation, so I had to go live with my grandmother, and I had to speak to the dean of the school. And I was lucky enough that the dean of the school let me come to school 2 times a week. I would drive 2 hours 2 times a week, which is a total of 4 hours 2 times a week, just to turn in my assignments just in order to graduate. So I did do that, and I accomplished that. I mean, because that was fun. I was just driving and having a good time, and I was totally smoking weed back and forth, But I still graduated, So then now I'm 19 because I was held back in first grade, so I was a little older graduating. And I had to move in with my grandmother. Well, I chose to move with her, and I also had no choice because there was nowhere else to go.
It's like
But
car or grandma.
yeah, because I'm not welcome to either parent's house, obviously, So at this point, though, with me smoking weed, getting kicked out of both parents' house, my grandma did have a heart-to-heart with me, and she did talk to me about my grandfather and how she had wished I would find sobriety. I just remember thinking, you're nuts. I am not like him at all, because he died. I don't want to die.
Right.
I thought that was the issue. But, and then she tried to get me to go to college, but instead I chose to drink and work. And here we go, I meet a boy there in that hometown, and all we did was drink, smoke weed, work to buy more, and then cycle for 2 years.
So at that point, how much weed do you think you were going through on a daily basis? Was this just this small little, it's no big deal, or was this a full-blown...
I mean, you got a dime bag, or you got the whole back seat full of?
No, not like a backseat or anything. We're talking like getting an ounce or like a half ounce or something, and
Going in a day?
A day?
no, that would last me like a
She's
week,
like, wait a minute.
week or two, And then when the boyfriend would buy, I never had to buy it. I just stole it from him, so I don't really know, honestly. I just smoked whenever it was
That was
available.
communal weed. You weren't stealing. It was communal.
Well, I had to make sure it was like just enough to where he didn't notice, but apparently he did know.
Yeah. It's like, I was stealing it,
Yeah.
He wouldn't. No way he's going
And
to
I
notice
would make
this.
friends with people who would just give it to me for free, so I don't really know, honestly.
Were you stealing their weed too?
Yeah.
Not if they're giving it to you for free.
They liked my company. I was funny.
Yeah.
She was still bringing chicken and beer.
Yeah.
Were
Well,
you?
no, now I worked at Pizza Hut.
Oh.
Now it's
So, yeah.
even better.
Oh, even
Now
better.
it's weed, pizza, and beer.
Yeah, just,
There's nothing better that goes with weed and beer than pizza.
yeah, absolutely.
My
And then plus
goodness.
it's a small town, so they still had the pizza buffet, and they still do.
Oh,
So
man.
it was easy to get lots of pizza.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Easy peasy. Otherwise just to throw it out. It's like, I got tons, guys. Let's go.
People
But-
always like, I would do some shady stuff for a Klondike bar. I would do some shady stuff for a Pizza Hut buffet. Like,
I ain't gonna lie, I miss those Pizza Hut
Oh, my
buffets.
goodness.
Pizza Hut.
Anyway, we're off subject.
Get your stuff back together.
We're
Bring
off
back
subject.
the buffet.
so anyway,
But yeah, so pretty much then I started drinking odd hours, and I would scream and yell if he ever hid the weed from me, because then he started hiding it, because I guess I just took it whatever I wanted whenever I wanted it, right? And that's when I really noticed I was emotionally unstable, because I was screaming at someone who I loved and lived with for weed. Like, girl, what?
Yeah.
But
That's crazy.
There's something greater going on here.
yeah,
Like,
I was like, give me my stuff.
Are y'all living together at this point?
Yeah. He actually moved in with me and my grandma.
Grandma.
This is me living above Grandma's apartment. Yeah, she built me an apartment in her upstairs.
Your grandma's awesome.
that's awesome.
Well, we
Bro.
both built it, but yeah, she did.
But the fact that she was like, you know what? Like, I want you close to family. I'm not going to get rid of you. I mean, that's...
that grandma is my mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa.
Yeah.
She was everything. Absolutely.
That's a little piece of Jesus over there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
just don't call her granny.
That's
Yeah,
right.
just don't call her
Don't
I'm
granny.
gonna call her granny.
One friend called her granny, and she was like, "Don't ever."
We've
call
never
me that
seen her again.
So I'm just giving y'all forewarning.
Did she get scary when you...
She said
If
one
you
friend
think
called her
I'm
granny.
mean-
Never
Okay.
saw that person again, ever.
She's got her side too. But anyway, at this point, I don't know. I think I was really angry because I felt abandoned by my dad again and being kicked out and stuff. I just acted out that in this time frame. I also decided to write an amends letter to my dad. I pretty much took full responsibility because I really wanted my dad more than anything. I didn't grow up with him. I really wanted him in my life. And, well, the amends did nothing. They didn't care. They didn't change. They didn't
Let me ask you
invite me
a
in.
quick question. So how much does rejection play a part in, like, your need to go use or your need to drink or...
100%. It's in my reservation list.
Yeah.
I'm a resentful, fearful, angry drunk.
from rejection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any feelings, especially rejection, that's a big deal. That's,
I mean, that's just the
people pleaser in me, probably.
That's what I was
know?
about to say. That's such a catalyst for, like, depression. It's a catalyst for any landmine that you step on when it comes to addiction. And that's something I had to realize about myself was the fact that, like, the more I feel rejected, the more I got rebellious. The more rebellious, the more rejection I felt or was getting. And so it just continued. That was a whole nother cycle.
Yeah.
Where I was just tearing up the world because I was rejected by it.
Right, and I feel like there's like 20 different cycles going on at once.
Yeah.
The rejection, the codependency. I mean, everything's just like a big old engine just running.
Yep.
That's a real good point. I like that. Like, I haven't thought about that. Like,
Yeah.
just like just a big engine that's
Yeah.
just...
Whole bunch of stuff just
Man, I like that
catalyzing
analogy,
into
yeah.
something,
No. Those are all the voices in your head. And we're going to talk to more of those voices when we come back from this commercial break. We'll be right back.
Unashamed Recovery Podcast is heard around the world in over 42 countries, including over 780 cities, right here in the United States. People all around the world are hearing the message of the hope of recovery from addiction, and that's because of listeners just like you who donate, but also because of our local sponsors. Sponsors like D's Automotive in Meridian, Mississippi, serving the East Central Mississippi and West Alabama areas for over 42 years. Dee's is a name you can trust when it comes to your vehicle. For all your complete car needs and service and towing and car unlocks, that's Dee's Automotive. Go by and see Miss Jeannie, Mike, and the boys at 5024 Poplar Springs Drive. That's 5024 Poplar Springs Drive in Meridian, Mississippi, or give them a call at 601-482-1800. That's 601-482-1800. And tell them that Josh, Drew, and Palmer sent you. Now back to your normally scheduled programming right here on the Unashamed Recovery Podcast.
And we are back, and right before we left for the commercial break, Matti, we were talking about how rejection really is the catalyst that takes you into, your addictions, your drug addiction, your codependency, your dependency period. So, at that point, you were trying to get back with your dad. Like you had just sent a letter or whatnot, and I guess did he call you or send you another letter and reject you that way, or did it just kind of go flat? Flat, no response.
It was just like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll talk about it and get back to you. Oh. It's been 12 years?
He still hasn't gotten
Shame
back
on
to
you, Dad. Shame on you.
Wow.
Well,
Man,
and then I've written my new amends letter in this past year, and it's just like a big old congratulations.
Yeah. Well,
and then some things,
I like that. I like how you just said you wrote another amends letter. So, because when I heard you say I wrote the amends letter, am I wrong? Like, I don't feel like you were there. You weren't trying to amend. Like, I'm going to say exactly what I need to say. Look, I've been locked up in the loony bin twice.
Right.
And the first time I got out, I told them everything that they wanted to hear. Yep. I knew how to play the game.
No, it wasn't like that. I know that amends really was just like, I'm sorry for doing this, I'm sorry for doing this, and it was just the all I'm sorry's. But what I've learned today is the only apology that really makes the most sense is to actually change that behavior. I was just saying stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of
Words are words.
I had the
Change
words right,
behavior.
but not the behavior.
There we go.
That's the difference between that and today's amends.
Yeah. A really smart man once told me if nothing changes,
nothing changes.
nothing changes.
Yeah.
I wonder who said that.
It's Drew Smith.
Oh.
So it sucked because I kind of blamed them for never being a part of my life, but it's my fault because I never changed behavior. So that makes sense.
Okay. In this, if I'm playing devil's advocate, they chose to. Like they could have.
True.
They could have been somewhat, especially now that we're 12 years. You know, and in my opinion, at this point, it's kind of like if I see the change. If I can go on your Facebook, if I can go watch videos, if I can, talk to some of the people that you're running around with now, and I can see that change, now it's on them. Like they're choosing,
the same
they're
guy
choosing
that at
not
one
to
point,
forgive you.
He wanted to adopt, right?
He wanted me adopted, yeah.
Yeah, but didn't he? Look,
Not
the way
not to keep me.
right.
He
That's the way
to adopt me as someone else.
Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was when you told
he had
that part of
a baby
the
out
story.
of wedlock and Catholic.
Right. When you told that part of the story,
and so
I
then,
took it.
now he judges you over the snake bites and the drinking. Okay, all right.
The way I kind of took the adoption part too was like it was a power struggle.
Yeah, that was more of like
I want to adopt because I don't want I don't want mom to have my baby.
Well, yeah, because obviously, he doesn't have the greatest things to say about my mom, and then, so obviously he didn't feel like they don't have a lot of good opinions about my mother's family. So, of course, they would want this baby that he's fathered to go and be adopted outside.
Right.
Versus me being kept.
Is mom in the picture still?
Yeah, she's my best friend.
Okay,
She's supporting and loving me. And my dad is actually very supportive right now too.
Awesome.
So we're gonna get there.
Look at God.
I do want to say this right quick though.
But God.
I do want to say we probably got some people that are listening to this that they may be going through a step study and they may be getting that part in the step study of doing an amends.
Yep.
And please hear what we were just talking about is when you're doing that amends, take time to note the changed behavior and really accept that, because I know a lot of us we want to focus so much on the bad stuff when we do our inventory, and then when we try to write out our amends, we focus on the bad stuff. and we have a hard time of accepting that there is some good stuff that we have done. And when you're doing that amends, if you have got to change behavior, focus on that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this time and time again. Like, me and my wife have talked about this, and one of the reasons that my wife stayed after my affair on her is she has told me it is the changed behavior. I'm no longer the same person that I was that was in that porn and sex addiction. I'm a different person. And she has told me that the reason that she has stayed is because of the changed behavior.
Right, because you can say it all you want to.
Yeah.
Actions will speak
the
louder
talk-
than words.
Absolutely.
Every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I'm not an angry man anymore. Shut
Now, that's a whole other story. The anger
No, I'm
issues,
just
we're
I'm
still
just
working
saying,
on
like, if
progress
that's
on the anger issue.
I'm just saying, if that's one of your things where you're like, I'm not an angry man, and then you're like, sit down and hush. Like,
Yeah.
not angry, Dad, huh?
But yeah, so if you're going through that amends process, give yourself a little bit of grace, knowing that, hey, if you have done the change, then if that person doesn't accept that amends, that's not on them. It's not on you, it's on them. Right?
Yeah.
I almost said that backwards. But
Yeah.
And always remember, like I've said before, God only expects you to be just a little bit better today than you were yesterday.
Yep.
And if you fail at that, please remember that God's blessings and grace is new every single morning. So tomorrow's a new day. All right. So I know where we're headed, because you said that, Dad is, kind of back in your life now, right? That's what you just said?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know where we're headed, but how do we get there? Like, I've written Dad an amends letter. He's,
Yeah, we just kind of kept separate. We didn't really talk about anything at all until eventually I changed my behavior. That's really where that happened. But
was there a rock bottom before that? Like, I mean,
yeah, we got a lot more to go through.
let's get to it. Come on. I feel us
be
falling
honest.
further and further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Let's
just a little
go.
bit. So, that boyfriend in Illinois that I had drank, smoked weed with, and Pizza Hut and whatnot, my mom decided that this isn't the life she wanted for me. And she came in and just uprooted me and reminded me about a boyfriend from middle school and just sent me to Washington State to go live with him and change my life. She wanted me out of her hometown.
Ooh.
So you went to go live with.
So Mom calls up Jimmy and says, I'm just using her name here.
Yeah.
Mom calls up Jimmy and was like, hey, Jimmy, you remember my daughter, Maddie? Can she come live with you?
In a different way, it's more like, hey, where is he and where has he been? Because I know you guys still talk to each other. Why don't you go visit him? And he would
okay.
message me every
That's
few
where I was
months for the
confused.
last
Okay,
few
that
years.
makes more sense.
Sorry. But she it was her
I
idea.
kind of like Palmer's version.
Because it was more along the lines of like, you're getting in the car, we're going to go
right.
see Jimmy,
Well, it's
and
kind
this
of
is
what
done.
it happened in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had to wait for him to message me, and then I did. And then she's like, all right,
Go.
you're out.
Jimmy
And
is your
that was
future.
hard because I was with that guy for 2 years in Illinois, right? And I didn't know how to break up with him. I didn't know how to separate myself from this life, and I felt like I was doing all right. No, not at all. So I didn't know how to break up with him, so I asked my family what to say, and they're like, just tell him you're going on vacation. And I did that. I never returned.
Does he still think you're on
Is
vacation?
he
Yep.
still waiting?
Yep. She
He
went to
was-
go get the milk.
That's what I was about to say. She got 2 gallons.
I would hope, yeah.
Got lost on the way home.
It was really hard, guys, because
I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
No,
make
it's
light of
funny,
that,
but it's funny.
We're sorry,
but it's
Brad.
actually really a really
know his
crappy
name.
situation because
that's got to be tough, though.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I loved this man, and I'm like, well, I'm going on vacation. I'll see you in a week.
Yeah.
A week later, he calls me. He's like, all right, I'm out here. I got flowers and stuff. Yeah, that was really hard. That was rough because all of a sudden it's like I'm in Washington State.
Whew.
With Jimmy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's thousands of miles away at that
Yeah.
point.
Mm-hmm. And then not to mention, I'm also, while he's calling me, I'm drunk at a club
Got you.
with Jimmy, as you call him, with the dude in Washington.
What do you want?
So I may be getting ahead of us here. So have you done, has there been an amends there on that side?
Yeah.
Awesome.
To Brad?
We're gonna call Brad from
I'm sure.
Illinois.
I don't know.
We're
I'm just
giving
throwing
people
out names.
We're protecting their identity.
Yeah.
That's true. Well,
Brad, if you're watching,
unfortunately-
we're so very sorry.
Yeah, it's actually really sad because he still calls me every once in a while, and he's still stuck there mentally. So,
Well, there's probably no
still
closure
married?
on his end.
what?
I said there's probably no closure on his end.
There's no closure on his end, but I've given amends over and over many times in the last 10 years since that happened, and I had to simply say, I did a lot of inner work. I really worked on myself. He seems to think that, you don't think our kids will ever be friends? No, I don't think about you. And that really hurt his heart. But that to me is now, I've cleaned my side of the street to the best I can. Now you got to do your side.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
And then he just talked to me a few months ago, and I made my amends. And some people just can't get over some things.
Right.
Well,
It's
this
not
is
my
very
job.
awkward because Brad is here. Brad? I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just kidding. No, in all serious, I was just trying to make light of the situation, just because it really is a dark situation when people get stuck in that area and you can't do anything about it.
Right. Well, it's
You know,
also
it's
really
like-
crappy of what I did. Just say I'm going on vacation and never return when
Right.
we've been together for 2 years every day.
Right.
That's pretty rough to do to someone. So, that was part of the reason to continue all my drug use.
I told you there's an amount of crazy over here y'all have no idea about. I think we might need to take another break. Yeah. Josh is about to fall off his
Josh
chair.
is in tears over here.
One day I'm going to do that.
Because I looked to the door. I was like,
I ain't gonna lie, that was a big cause for a lot of my problems with my next relationship because I brought all of that pain into the next relationship because that was really messed up to do to someone.
yeah.
So all the badness from Brad, we'll call him Brad, transfers over to the relationship with
Jimmy.
who we're
You
calling
call him
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
calling him Jimmy.
Yeah.
Transfers over to that. So how does that work out? Like you almost, if I'm not mistaken, you're almost immediately moved in with him, correct?
Yup.
And so walk me through that. How does that play out?
So you just transferred emotion from one person to another.
Yeah.
So the same emotion and love that you were giving Brad,
Yeah, the quote unquote love.
you literally just gave the same level to Jimmy,
Yeah.
unhealed. So you're carrying all this unhealed baggage into this, and just like, here,
And she's like Santa.
take my
just
things.
Packing. She's like
Yeah.
Santa. She's just packing more into that
Yeah.
that big bag that she's carrying around. More toys.
Absolutely. Yeah, I came in like a wrecking ball in that relationship with
Okay,
a
Molly.
lot of trauma and a lot of pain and just a lot of anger. And I was drinking. I was 21 at the time, and he was a year younger, so he wasn't able to like really legally drink. So I was like, every time we went out, I was drinking, but he wasn't.
Right.
And I was just a mess. And we just we fought and fought and fought like cats and dogs. But we had known each other since we were 12 years old, because this is my middle school boyfriend, that I'm just randomly getting with at 21 years old. But, as we wanted to break up and move on, I'm pregnant,
Dun, dun, dun.
Yay!
So,
No?
that was hard because,
I couldn't, yeah.
first thing my mom says is, well, I'm going to send you money, you're going to get an abortion. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get a therapist. I think that was the best decision I ever made, Because here I am talking to a therapist, and I'm wanting to talk to her about my obsession about Brad in Illinois and all this trauma, and this therapist doesn't even want to talk about that. She's seeing the bigger picture of, like, you're pregnant. Let's talk about that. Have you ever made a decision on your own before? That was the first time I ever heard that before. What?
So the answer was no.
We can make decisions on our own? I did not know we could.
Well, that's not necessarily true. You were making decisions. They
But
were
I didn't
all
see
wrong.
it
Not
that
good
way.
ones.
Well, I didn't, because my mother sent me to Washington. My mother sent me to
Oh,
my
yeah?
dad's.
Well, true.
My mom sent me here. My mom sent me there. I never had a choice on where to live or what to do with my life.
Right.
Of course, I was making the little fun choices on my own, but the big ones, no.
Right. No, I get that.
She was making the choice of pizza
Just not the
or
real life
KFC.
choices.
That's
Yeah.
right. Pizza
Yeah.
or KFC.
So my first conscious adult choice was keeping my daughter.
Awesome.
So that's really cool, 'cause she's a really cool kid today. But anyway, we ended up staying together, and he grudgingly asked me to marry him, and he joined the Marine Corps, and we got married just a month before she was born. That was a really crappy wedding. I was super pregnant. It was really hot, and I showed up in Converse, and everyone thought I was a runaway bride. because I was an hour late.
Showed up in Converse.
An hour late.
And super pregnant. And crying.
Like, that's why it took me so long. Do you see this belly? Like,
Yeah.
hello?
It was just,
So it felt like a shotgun wedding.
yes and no, and it was not fun, you know. I actually made a lot of the food for that wedding, and my aunt took over a lot of stuff, and everyone was just too busy in my family taking care of themselves, and nobody was there to take care of me. I didn't feel special at all. So it was just kind of like,
Another form of rejection.
yeah. So I go to have the baby a month later, and my husband's around long enough for her to be born, but then he had to go ship off back to California for training. And so my aunt took care of me, my mom's sister. And, you know, after she was born, I got settled back at my parents' house, in my own bedroom, my own bathroom. My aunt set me up with a handle of Captain Morgan, and then I got the baby, and I'm in my room again, you know. Obviously, my mother helped take care of the baby, but,
Yeah.
you know, I was in my room. I was isolated again. I had alcohol, and I just had the baby. I had bad postpartum depression, and I did not know it at the time, you know. And then that Christmas, 'cause she was born in the winter, or the fall, my parents, I remember, they were holding up 4 big bottles of liquor, and they're like, "Did you drink all this?" And they were empty. And I was like, "Yeah, like, it's normal. What of it?" Apparently, that's not normal at all, guys. You know,
I did not have a problem.
I didn't think that was a problem at all. Like, it's pretty normal, you know, like, whatever.
I don't have a problem. Those drinks went down fine.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but you know, I didn't really listen to them. I just kind of ignored it and just said, "Wait till they shut up," and they threw them away, like whatever. So after that, I just threw away my bottles at the gas station. After that, so
To hide it better.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But then, you know, my daughter and I moved to California to be with my husband. We had another new start, and I didn't know anybody. I was depressed, and, you know, but for my daughter, I did throw myself into the military community. I made a great life. I felt I had arrived. You know, I just drank at night, and, you know, I parented by day, socialized. Like, I thought I was doing good. I was managing life, right? But then it took on a dark turn because then my husband was now drinking terribly down a path that I could not keep up with. He was now emotionally and physically abusive. He threatened divorce. He told me to get better. I got better. I got tougher. I was fueled by rage. I did my best to do everything right, but he always found something wrong with me. So you take all of that chaos I brought from Illinois, bring a baby, marriage, drinking. Now we live in another state. It's just a lot just happened. That was only a year.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That was in 1 year, yeah. So, you know, but, you know, eventually the military intervenes with him going to barracks 2 different times. Eventually he went to an inpatient treatment center, and they told me, this is when I first heard about AA. And they encouraged me to attend a few meetings, and I went, and I saw these 2 boards, the steps and traditions, and I'm like, whoa, this is like, that's some real stuff. Like, we're talking about like my soul here. Like, they want me to go do an inventory on myself? Oh no, that's long. No way.
I bet you were like, I refuse.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
refuse.
But how many of us, when we first got into it, refused?
I relapsed off
I
of mine.
refused.
I refused 6 times.
I literally relapsed. Like, I got to
6
step
times.
4, started doing an inventory, and said, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do this.
Inventory is like when you're first coming into it, looking at it, inventory is horrible looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That-
it's scary.
When it's your first day walking in, seeing that, absolutely.
Like, it's kind of
That
like
was
there in the
terrifying to
corner,
see.
kind of looming over, like,
Yeah.
and you see it.
But you know, at the same time, when I saw it, I was like, that sounds like a really good idea, but I knew I wasn't ready for that.
Right.
You know, I wasn't ready for that. But anyway, you know, the program looked intense, and I started listening in the rooms, and I was like listening to people's problems, and wow, I'm not like any of these low life losers. This is for my husband.
What
this
does
is
that
not
sound
for me.
like?
You know,
That's what your mom said when she went.
that's right. Because I came in as a stuck up girl like my mom.
I don't have any problems.
Yeah, not at all.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you know.
I'm just here for the
So-
show.
I'm not crazy.
No, not crazy at all. But, you know, I had a lot of blessings with the military, though, because that's where I got a lot of education. I actually had an in-home parenting teacher for 4 years, twice twice a week. So I didn't really have no one to teach me how to be a parent, and someone taught me, And then I took an anger management course because I thought there might be something wrong there. And I took a 16-week alcohol course. And no matter how much I minimized how much I drank in my screening, they still identified me as an alcoholic. And I was just like, no, I'm not. No, because my husband is. It's not me, And then with the military, they told us to do a domestic violence course. So I learned a lot about boundaries, and I learned a lot of coping mechanisms, which is exactly what I needed after that ball of fire from Illinois to Washington to California, But I also just really wanted to know what I've been fighting my whole life, and But then we eventually had a son. And he was completely useless by then. I'm super into the military, doing great, have a great lifestyle, and I'm just drinking and smoking weed regularly, but not like crazily. And it's California, so you can just go to the store and buy weed, right? My aunt had to come to town, take care of me. I even joined a women's church Bible study. We did go to church, and he could hold off long enough not to drink for us to go to church. So we were just Sunday best people. And, having my son born in 2017, after I went to AA that year, he saved my life because he breastfed for 2 years. So I didn't drink, And
well, that's a blessing there. Like that's one of those kind of in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when I wasn't able to do it with my daughter, but with him, he wasn't letting go. Everyone joked, is he going to go to college with you? It's just like...
Just like a boy.
But, you have to think about it. That really saved my life, And learning how to go on vacation, I went and drove cross-country the summer after my son was born, trying to run away from my problems with the emotional and physical abuse of my husband at the time. And we came back, and he had no concept of changing, and I decided I didn't want that life for my children, to see their mother being abused all the time and beat down, and he was always blackout. So I gave in what he wanted. I got divorced, right? And I will add though, but shortly after we got divorced, he actually was picked up naked on the highway like 6 months later, and he has not had a drink since.
Awesome.
Nice.
That was like, 4 or 5 years ago?
Well, sometimes it takes somebody being naked on the highway.
That's the name of my next album, Naked on the Highway.
Naked on the highway. It's kind of cool because today
Put it on a t-shirt?
Last summer when I got sober, he asked me, well, what's your rock bottom? I was like, I ain't telling you. He's like, well, I know mine was definitely getting naked on the highway. I was like, yeah, I would hope so. So I'm very blessed, because today we're able to co-parent,
That's awesome.
But, so we got divorced, and I didn't have my problems that I thought of at the time because I was all newly educated,
Right.
Nah, divorce really numbed me, and once my son stopped breastfeeding,
Right back to it.
Right back to old ways. And I met this iron worker, and my codependency came in. I just latched on to someone who could take care of us. And, I got my first job in years, and then the pandemic hit, so I was lucky. I worked at Target, so it was super easy to keep my job because I was an essential worker. But this man I was with was an iron worker, and he lost his job. They just stopped doing a lot of buildings and whatnot, just kind of stopped everything. So here I am now, living in an apartment, got children, I'm drinking, kind of insane, he's drinking, and then my kids were going to their dad every weekend. So here, him and I are kind of binging on the weekends. Then we're like, good, yeah, managing life. It was just another routine like I did before. So he decided that with the pandemic, he's going to bring up his sister, who is an ex-addict. And I was like, all right, cool, as long as it's like ex, ex-addict, cool. Yeah, no, she was not an ex-addict. I picked her up. She was still totally high off something. And then I was filled with rage, yet compassion. So I learned how to help this woman out of detox, or through detox, to become healthier. And, she did. She actually became a really beautiful, helpful woman. And then the iron worker says, well, I'm leaving. So now I'm living in my apartment with his sister, and he decides to go to Michigan to make money, right? And my mom supported him to go there. because he's supposed to be giving us money to help pay for this rent. No, he drank, cheated, and took all the money. And then one weekend, my
Rejection
children...
again.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my children were with their dad one weekend, and this girl ODs in my bathroom. Yeah, that was... Like, she lived, but it was pretty freaking traumatizing.
No,
Well,
I get that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I went to go check on her because it's been a long time, and there she is passed out in my bathroom floor. And I'm thinking I'm managing my life because I'm not really drinking a lot. I'm just smoking mostly, and I was working a lot and still transferring kids and doing the right thing. Wow, this does not sound normal at all, you know? So she lived, separated.
And we're still not at rock bottom.
We're really close. Sent her back, you know?
Oh, I thought Naked on the Highway was rock bottom. Okay.
No,
No, that's his rock bottom, not hers.
Yeah.
I'm just...
But yeah, you know, so then
Sorry.
after that, me and my ex-husband decided to go to Pensacola, Florida, move down there, and so we could co-parent now. But I was so codependent and moving in Pensacola, I ran up to Michigan. I picked that dude up.
Oh, my...
I brought him down to Florida. I was so insane.
You took Dave to Florida?
So we got Brad, Jimmy, and now we got a Dave.
God dang. Yeah.
Should have left Dave in Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I did not. So my Santa drove and picked him up.
Maddie.
Yeah.
What if I'm right on all three of these names?
You're not.
Would that be hilarious?
That would be
Like,
crazy. But I...
She'd be like, how'd you know?
It's crazy, though, because I had called the police on him for his erratic behavior, because he was obviously a drunk. And then they wouldn't take him away. They're like, well, there's nothing he's done. I'm like, oh, God dang, okay. So then he goes to call the police because he doesn't like the way I'm yelling at him, and he's petty. So then when the police come back the second time, like 30 minutes later, he gets mad at me and hits me in front of the police officer, and he gets arrested for calling the police.
It's awesome.
You know?
Gotta love it.
As a 911 dispatcher, I love it when that happens.
You know?
That happens a lot.
I bet.
He's called the police for me, but he went sent away.
Or
This is Dave, right?
Yeah.
Or when somebody is causing the problem, but they call on somebody else, and when the officers get there, that person has a warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even better.
My day is complete.
Right, there you go.
Thanks,
But,
Dave.
and then what's even crazier is that he went to prison for that, and I still took him back because I wanted him to pay me back my money.
So you, Jimmy, and Dave are all living in sunny Florida.
Uh-huh.
And Dave goes to prison.
Uh-huh.
And then gets out of prison, and you take him back.
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah. Yeah, so then my sister...
You know what? You may be crazier than I thought you were.
Yeah. I was so insane, you know? But then...
the codependency.
It's the codependency.
I mean,
that's the struggle.
No, I
right
get
there.
it. I'm just giving you a hard time, but like I totally understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's chaos.
I mean, you know, you don't want to be alone.
No, exactly. So then my closest sister cut me out of her life right after I took him back, and that broke my heart. And then I went off the deep end. I was now chasing material items, and I was still with Dave. And I bought two $2,000 electric bikes, and then I bought a $4,000 dog. And then he walked out of my life after I spent $3,000 on us to go to Miami. I was like, that's fine. Dave can go now.
Dave can go. I'm going to Miami.
I'm taking Jimmy with me.
We went to Miami first, and then he walked out.
Dave
Yeah.
sounds smart to me.
Yeah.
This
Really
crazy lady
used
just
me.
paid $3,000 for us to go to Miami. I'm going to Miami as soon as we get back. I'm
I'm
outta
leaving
here.
her. Yeah, I know. But, and through it all, I still go to church most Sundays, and I try to figure out something. So then after that, I tried to stay sober 50 days. But I was fueled by rage over resentment from Dave, because it turns out he stole like a $1,200 check from me from one of those electric bikes. So then I drank again. And then my children still went to their dad every weekend. I started drinking on my work breaks. I binged. I would date men and toss them and move them to the side once they gave me sex, money, food, or attention.
All the things you needed
Yeah,
or wanted.
everything I needed or wanted,
Just trying to fill in that void.
Yep.
And then one day my job sent me home in an Uber because they said I needed to go home. I was pissed because I didn't feel that I was drunk.
Because I don't have a problem.
Exactly, So I quit my job thinking they would fire me. And then that spring, me and my grandmother went on a road trip, and I got really pissed off. And I left her stranded on the highway.
You left Grandma?
On the highway. 1 a.m., she says. What? Yeah. I was...
The next episode will be us with Grandma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I accepted that I had a mental disorder. I was not going to acknowledge that I was drunk or that I drank at all. I was like, nope, there's something wrong with my brain. Yep.
Yeah, it's called addiction.
Yeah. Didn't know at the time. So then after that, I started working for a woman I met at a bar. I made enough money to buy all my alcohol.
Did you go back and pick her up?
Well, yeah, sorry. Sorry. I did go
I know
pick her up.
Grandma's still here. Hold on, Grandma's in the
I'm
audience.
saying a no.
Hold on,
What?
Grandma's in the audience and she says time out. Go ahead,
did
Grandma.
go back.
What happened?
Called me and wanted to know where I was.
She called you. I'm on the side of the. Grandma said I called you.
Okay,
she called you.
So hold on. You abandoned her on the side of the highway, and you're like, "Hey, where are you at?"
I was blackout drunk, and I said I had a mental disorder, okay?
You left her to go get the milk, and said,
I honestly couldn't answer you. I was...
"Oh man."
My one call, he took me right to the Shell station where she was sitting in the passenger seat sound asleep.
Should we get her up here for that story?
Okay, for those that didn't hear that, she said that when Matti called and said, "Where are you?" Basically, she had already Grandma had already called 911, and they basically came and got her and took her to the Shell station that Matti is at, passed out drunk in the car.
Oh,
So that's how Grandma gets Matti back.
And that's how Grandma's here.
That's not how Matti got Grandma back. That's how Grandma got Matti back.
I guess that's a great way of finally seeing what really happened.
Yeah,
Because I don't know. I was
That's right.
sleeping.
she's like, I went back and picked her up.
I went back. Yeah, she literally said I went back and picked her up. No, Grandma's over there. She literally gives us the timeout signal. Timeout. Red flag or yellow
Hey,
flag.
there's only so much drunk can remember
Right?
some stories,
Still in Pensacola.
Yeah.
Wait, you were 30 miles from where?
Montgomery.
Oh,
And she thought they were still in Pensacola.
Wow. Yeah.
You're learning things today, huh?
I've been learning a lot this week.
did you go to the beach in Montgomery?
In my dreams.
Yeah.
I can't believe you left Grandma. Like,
Me neither.
I mean, to be
I would
quite
not
honest,
normally do that. Well,
she
What did you? Did
she
you tell her
have-
did you pull over on the side of the road? Get out.
we think that is because we went to the gas station and I got mad talking to my mother on the phone that I just got in the car and started driving off thinking she was in the car, but I was too drunk to notice if she was in or not. And then I got to stop at the gas station. I'm like, where are you? But my mind, the time warp and
I'm
the
glad we-
concepts were wrong.
I'm
Okay,
glad
so
we
that
explained
clarified.
that.
Yeah, because I was over here
'cause
like, you kicked her
middle
out of
of-
the car,
yeah.
left her, and then called her to see where.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
diabolical at this
Yeah, because
point.
Madison doesn't know the full story. Madison just knows so much.
okay, I feel
I
a
can't
little
lie,
bit better.
though. That-
Me too,
I feel a
because
little better about
I
the
had
story.
the image of driving down the interstate or a highway, 2-lane highway,
And to be honest-
in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, and said, "Grandma, get out."
Yes.
Yeah.
And Grandma gets out, and then an hour later, she calls and says, "Where are you?"
at?
Yeah.
I'm still, I don't know, in the middle of Pensacola and Montgomery.
Oh my goodness.
Well, to be honest, as an addict myself, like I have a ton of stories that I keep hearing from like my family, like even my kids. Like they'll come up with the most outlandish story. I'm like, there's no way I ever did anything like that. They're like,
Oh, you wait.
are you serious?
They don't
And then they
remember?
start coming, like they give you detailed of like what you said, did, how your face looked. You know what I mean?
That's why it takes so long for us to get help, because we can't remember.
Yeah.
It gives us amnesia. We
Yep.
don't remember nothing.
I used to call it teleportation.
There you go. That is
Because
totally
I would
correct.
be in one spot when I started. By the end of it, I was in a whole different state. You know,
Right.
it was just
Exactly.
And always into with
Absolutely.
flashlight.
How did I get here? Okay, so we all
that
feel
was
better
the
about
one
Grandma.
time.
Yeah.
No, that was a few times
Grandma-
at Walmart. Leave me alone.
That's a big...
We all feel
Well, it's
better
hard
about
because that's
Grandma.
not my story, because I don't know.
That's true. I'm just saying.
I'm glad Grandma-
we all had.
I feel better that this show does not endorse leaving Grandma
Grandma.
stranded
No,
on the
we
side of
don't.
her.
No.
So
No,
I
not
feel
at all.
better about this now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel
All right.
better about it too, because I didn't know.
Stay tuned next week. We're going to interview Grandma. Going to hear her say.
It's the slight chuckle for me. She's just like,
Oh my goodness.
At least Grandma thinks it's funny now.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, so we get back to town, and now I'm working for a woman. I met at a bar. I just made enough money to pay all my alcohol, and I did not pay bills anymore. And this time, I had been single for about a year, and I tried to be sober, and clearly did not work, as we just learned. And I met my next boyfriend and my last boyfriend as of today. I met him at a bar. He was a biker. He started taking up all my time.
Hey, don't be judging us bikers. What's wrong with you?
Hey,
I love the bikers. Broken chains. We're all good.
We all heard that groan. Go ahead, Matt.
well, this biker took up a lot of my time, and he was controlling. I ignored red flags, and I quit working for that woman because she demanded way too much of me. And I didn't work at all. I felt completely dependent on my mother. And I allowed my boyfriend to control me because I thought it's what I needed, because obviously I was out of control.
I can't make good decisions. Might as well let somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we were all or nothing with our drinking and drug use. I didn't know how. I always got to the point of vomiting. I just couldn't drink like everybody else. And I started noticing that, and I had the shakes after vomiting for hours. And he had this idea when I was shaking, like, why don't you try a bump of cocaine? And solve all your problems. It'll go
Sometimes
away.
you got to fight fire with fire.
Yeah. So,
And that's where it starts.
yeah, I was scared because I had a heart condition. So I was like, kind of like freaking out. Like, I'm not going to die, right? Am I? You're going to make sure I'm not going to die. Like, right? And I just trusted them. I did whatever he told me. And I had a new addiction. Now it broke my addiction to weed. I wasn't interested in drinking. I only drank and used cocaine when he allowed me. I did get a new job as a means to get away from him and his wrath, because he was a violent drinker. And, the one time I did go buy a bottle that winter of 2022, I was perplexed because I drank it all and it didn't work. Like, the alcohol stopped working, and I thought it was just a bad batch of alcohol. I can't
I've
believe
heard that country song.
But, I was scared to go against this boyfriend because he was huge, intelligent. He had been in prison a few times. So I was walking on eggshells. But I knew, after all the work I had done and stuff, that I've told myself, we've done this before. Anything he says is not true. You're a sweet, kind, loving woman, and I love you. His drinking was violent. On weekends, we used cocaine and seldom drank. He would randomly be blackout drunk when I worked, and I was truly watching an alcoholic for the first time. I had been around enough of it, obviously, to recognize it, and something about the way he did things was very familiar to me. He was very tedious and careful about his actions, and I started wondering, am I like this? Am I this controlling? Am I this angry? Is this how I treat people? Granted, he's farther down the scale, but everything he was doing reminded me so much of
Almost kind of like
myself.
seeing that reflection.
Yes, it was like watching myself, and it was to me. I see him as a catalyst for my change because he was the first mirror I had for myself.
Right.
So I was just about to ask. So were you pleased with that reflection you were seeing?
Absolutely, it sucked to go through, but I needed to see that, And
Well, thanks, James.
so
We've done named them all.
I know, but I just name random guys.
Right.
It's kind of funny,
Brad, Dave, James, Jimmy. So
Well, I started.
She's got a pattern.
What this guy's named James? Is that what we're calling him?
Yep.
Well, James, I started praying to God to take James the frick out.
The frick out, she says.
Yeah, because he was really controlling.
God, dear Lord,
You know?
please
Take him
strike-
out!
Please strike James.
take him out. Smite him.
Smite him,
and I
you
just
mighty
like,
smiter.
please take him out and don't make it my fault.
Yeah.
Don't make it my fault.
That's even better. Take him out, but don't let me be the reason.
Yes, that was exactly my prayer.
I'm praying about it.
I'm praying.
Yeah.
I still don't want to be the reason about it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did.
Is James still alive?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Jesus. Because how bad would it be if you had to live the rest of your life knowing James died after you prayed for him to die?
No, I didn't
what I
pray
mean?
for him
Like,
to
poor-
die. I just
poor
wanted to get
James.
taken out of my life. That's all.
Oh, okay. We took that a whole
3 years?
Well, you
that a
could have
hole.
always went on a road trip with him and left him on the side of the road. Just throw it
Or
out
told
there.
him you went on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Got a lot of solutions here.
James, I'm going to the grocery store.
Yeah, so when you
Never
meet
come
Bill,
back.
just know you can always
when I meet Bill.
Go get the milk.
Okay.
go get the milk.
Oh my God. Well, I was obviously very codependent, and I prayed, and that prayer was actually answered. He came to my workplace in a blackout and pushed me on camera, and he made a scene, and my boss called the police, and because he had a rap sheet, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison.
Dang.
So that was February of 2023.
That's what you
Do we know anything
3
about
years.
James now?
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, is
He's just sitting there in prison.
so no? You don't know if he's changed or anything, or if this is working
no,
on him.
Surprisingly, he just called me last night.
Right before you come on the show. Gotcha.
So he has not changed.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hates me as a person, but he still calls me.
Oh.
Because I just tell him the truth, and he doesn't like it.
Or maybe
James,
he
we
doesn't
hope
like
you-
it but knows he needs it.
Yes, and that's probably
Yeah.
why he still tries to
Yeah.
call me.
James, we hope you hear this episode, and this is the catalyst to your change. You can be better. You can be better.
That's right. Absolutely.
So, okay, I've avoided this. One, I see how many notes you got over there, so I've avoided this question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it now because you just said, I prayed. Earlier you said, I knew God, or I'd been going to church. So was church always?
The child care centers.
It was the child care
Church
centers,
has always
but
been in the back corner and in the sidelines. Like, I was always going to church. Like, I even talked about how we were Sunday best people
Right,
in
right.
my marriage.
Yep.
I always went to church on Sundays. Did not do anything more than that. I did a little bit of Bible study in the military, but otherwise, no. I just, whenever Sunday,
so you know God.
I do.
You just don't know God.
Yeah.
Like, you know of God. You just don't know
I don't have
God.
faith.
You don't, yeah. Or
There's no
relationship.
personal relationship.
There's no
It's not a
relationship. Yeah,
relationship.
but I
Okay.
knew of him and I believed in him. But I
Okay.
didn't know how to get to him.
So when you start praying,
Oh, he was
for-
getting to you.
Oh, that's for sure.
I mean,
looking back,
you don't have to know how to get to him. He's going to come to you.
So
just
when
gotta
you
be
start
aware.
when you start praying for James to be taken out, I mean, like, are you starting to have a relationship with God, or is this just there's no atheist
Hail
in a
Mary prayer. Was that a Hail
foxhole?
Mary?
no, I was definitely starting to build a relationship.
Starting to
there.
build a relationship.
It really was, because I knew something was wrong. Watching him,
Right.
And I started praying more of every weekend, like, help me survive this weekend. I actually started building that relationship without even realizing I was.
Right.
Because it was a gift of desperation in there. Like, I don't want to go down this path.
Right.
I don't want to be.
I know you exist. I need help. I'm going to just start this conversation
Yeah.
every weekend. I like it.
You know, don't ever underestimate the power of having somebody in your life that's further down the path than you are, whether that's good or bad.
Right.
If in recovery, we need somebody further along this recovery journey than I am, so I can get coaching and I can see how this recovery journey's gone. But also, don't underestimate the power of when I'm in that addiction of seeing somebody further along in the same thing that I'm doing to see how this goes. Because I'll never forget, I had just got into recovery, and I met this guy who was, his story was identical to mine. Like, our story lined up perfect, but he was still in his. Like, he was in recovery because he had to be. It wasn't because he wanted to be there. But he was still continuing on this journey, and I got a front row seat to see, okay, if I don't stop my junk and change, this is where I'm ending up. And that was kind of the eye opener that I needed, because it was like, holy crap, this dude, like, you could just see his front row seat.
That's exactly how I feel that's going
Right.
on right here.
So-
is watching this guy, I'm like, wow, that's where I'm going if I
Yes.
don't stop.
Yeah, like that. Don't underestimate the power of that. Like,
No.
And I appreciate you walking with me during that hard time in my life.
no problem, brother.
Just kidding.
No problem.
So you're like Josh already said, you're staring in the mirror.
Yeah.
This is
Watching this guy was
That's right.
a mirror. And it was so crazy scary, and it was awesome and terrifying. It was everything.
right,
But I went to God through it, which was the coolest part.
which is
Man, that's
was God's plan all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needed to give me my wrath to myself.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror
Right.
Absolutely.
at somebody else that's doing like you're talking about. If I don't quit, if I don't change, that's what I'm going to look like.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Poor James.
So, I know. Because, we all, when we're facing addiction and such, there's still the person underneath it all.
Right.
And that's the sad part is I understood that person because they were so much like me. I was like, gosh, I want to shake you to come with me, but I can't.
Right.
I have to go save myself first.
Right.
That's all I can do.
And to be quite honest, I mean, we're sitting here having a fun-loving conversation that's deep, but like I can see the heart in you and the sweetness in you. And so these gentlemen get stuck on that.
Yeah.
They see the realness underneath all the BS, bologna sandwiches, underneath all of that. And they're like, that's how they get stuck. I mean, that's quite literally probably why they got stuck where they are, is because like they knew there was something great there. And if I'd have just held on to it, if I'd have just changed with her, then we could have made this work.
Being someone with me forces you to rise up, change, That's how it's always been.
Yeah.
I've known that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I had to do it first.
Amen.
I had to do it
Somebody's got to change first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we both
gonna
going
be
to kill
me,
we're going to kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's get to my rock bottom here, which was he obviously went to prison, and I was codependent. That I obviously lost my controlling mechanism for all my behavior. So now I'm back to my old ways again. And this time I drank so much so that I started hallucinating. I drank and I was scared, embarrassed. I remember my friend's face literally changing from one face to another. And I had 2 different conversations. They were like, Madison, that's not me. Who are you talking to? And I'm like, I remember my brain like coming into consciousness. And I was like, oh, I'm just drunk. I'm going to go. I don't know how I made it home, but I did,
I'm going to go get the milk now.
Yeah. Yeah. Go get the milk now. Yeah.
I got it.
So after that, I decided I'm never drinking with a person ever again. But I drank one more time. It was on March 15th of 2023. My grandmother had the kids. I went to a 9 a.m. dentist appointment. And then I went to the bar at 11 a.m. because I wanted to write notes to James in prison. And I got myself full of resentment and anger that I got full of rage, and I drank myself off to the races at the beach, and I was blackout drunk and couldn't tell you what happened. Well, but I did make it home some way, somehow, and I wasn't arrested, and I woke up at midnight holding my kids in bed. So you're not with your kids at all day, and you wake up from your drunk binge holding...
Teleporting.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would describe it. It was teleportation into holding my 2 babies, and they had no idea. But, my grandma had brought them over when I was sleeping in my bed. It was late enough that you guys are going to sleep, just going to wake up. And I'm grateful that happened, because if my 2 lives, because I kept my drinking as far away from my children as best that I could, but when they met together, that was like alcoholism holding my children, and that is no go. That is not okay. Those are my babies.
No bueno.
Right.
But not even that. It was the fact that I was like, how did my kids get here? When did I get home? How did I get home? Wow, Madison, you could have died. You could have killed someone. You could have been arrested. You could have got a DUI. Wow. I had been alone, and I was drinking. So then I realized maybe it's me, Maybe it's me for the first time.
That's a big revelation.
It really was.
That's what's that moment of clarity.
The
really
light
was.
bulb.
I don't think it's ever. I don't think it's ever maybe.
No, I said maybe, ... it's ... me. And it took a little bit to say those words, but it was there,
I can't tell you how many times over the last 10 years in recovery that I've sat in an open share group and I've witnessed that moment where somebody, they don't know why they're there in recovery. They're so far in denial, and they're sitting there in open share and they're talking all this out, and they have that moment and it hits them. And you can see the light bulb come on, and just like, oh, wait, this. Like you and to be able to see that moment and witness it and see that light bulb click and see it just kind of like that that veil kind of drop before their eyes and they finally see it. Like it's such a moment. And man, like every time I get to a point of burnout in recovery, or like I'm just like, I'll get a moment like that, and it's like, okay, this is why I'm still here. Like this is why I'm still in this process. This is why I'm still involved, because it's a moment. Like it's such a great thing to first for somebody to like for you to go through it, but then for somebody else to see them do it. It's just it's awesome.
So after I acknowledged that it was me, I remembered back in 2017 I saw them 2 boards in AA, and after recognized, okay, it's me, and I was drinking. I need to go to AA. The image of those 2 boards came in my head. And, you know, there's been sayings in the rooms of, like, you don't just wake up and want to come to AA. I'm like, I did. You know, I really did, you know. And so
I don't know. Like, how far down the rabbit hole did you fall? Because I did. I woke up and said, okay, I want to go. I mean, I'm talking about you. Right. It's like, I was so far down the rabbit hole that I was like, you know what?
I'm ready.
I don't want to go to AA.
I'm ready, you know? So I went into recovery all because of that, you know? Because the seed had been planted in 2017, you know, and it sprouted that day.
That's awesome.
We're ready. All right, let's go, you know? So then I asked my grandmother to escort me, and this was my first meeting on my own, and I knew this is where I needed to be. At first, you know, I wasn't interested in working with anybody. I was egotistical, like, I know all the answers, you know, I don't know anything, you know. But I did get a big book and a 12 and 12, and I read Doctor's Opinion, and I was like, wow, yeah, I'm totally an alcoholic, absolutely, hands down. That's pretty obvious. You know, there's no doubt there. So
the only thing this book needs is a picture of me.
Yeah, literally. So, you know, I read a little bit of the big book, and I came into a meeting, and I started telling everybody what to do with themselves and their lives, and I was, you know, I know the answers.
She was that person.
Yeah, the one that's been there 30 days, and all of a sudden they have everybody else's. I can fix yours.
Yep.
I can fix yours.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
We're
like.
not talking about mine.
Nope.
We're not going to talk about mine, but I can fix yours, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how to fix
exactly. Yours. But that was only the first few weeks, because then this man stopped me and he said, look, you want my opinion? I said, yeah, sure, let's go. You know, all happy.
No.
What you got?
Yeah, no. He told me, you need to get a sponsor. There are sick people in these rooms. You don't go telling everyone what to do and how to solve their problems. We don't talk about boyfriends, and we don't talk about our mess in these rooms. That pissed me off. I was mad, angry, you know, I was resentful. But clearly I needed to be in AA, you know? And I knew that about myself. So I was like, okay, clearly I may not know what is going on here.
Fine.
Pretty much.
I guess.
I'm like, I started with the nightly meetings, and, you know, I knew to switch the old behavior. I'm like, I'm going to keep coming back. That's what they said, so whatever. But before I got a sponsor, you know, I was like a dry drunk at this point, and just before I was 2 months.
White knuckling it?
Kind of.
Just
yeah, I would say so.
hanging on.
Yeah.
With no tools.
Yeah.
Driving down the road at 100.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out.
But I know all about Doctor's Opinion, so I know I'm an alcoholic at least.
At least she's out of denial.
Yeah.
That
I'm
part.
not in denial, but I'm still totally white knuckling it because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you know I'm an alcoholic, but what's next?
Yeah, I'm like, my hands are like, what do I do?
Yeah. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Exactly. But just before...
the Ricky body.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think of all the time.
Put him down.
Okay, yeah. But there was this freak accident that really humbled me just before I got my first sponsor. I ran over that $4,000 dog. It was a freak accident, and I had to go put him down at 9:30, and I went to AA meeting at 9:45. So it really humbled me because it made me slow down and live with a little bit more patience and to not go so fast in the fast lane. And to be, you know, I felt my feelings for the first time because I've been drinking over resentments and chasing men and, you know.
Numb.
But clearly the dog meant a lot to you.
Yeah. It was the sweetest thing ever. Yeah. I actually painted a picture of him in my grief, you know. Yeah. I changed my pain for something else instead of drugs and alcohol. But, you know, the most beautiful part is that because I went to the AA meeting, as soon as I put him down, I was supported in my grief. The fellowship was there for me People were really proud and taken aback that someone came in not even 2 months sober, just like, I don't want to drink over this. I know I need to be here, and I don't know what to do or how to do anything, but just, I'm here.
Right.
You know?
Just the communities that, you realize that people are just like you.
Yeah.
And they have the same compassion that you have, or empathy that you have.
Absolutely.
But, we think that that's not afforded to us because of the life that we've lived or the people that we've involved ourselves with.
Right.
So we never used to it, but.
Well, and I think it's important to stop just for a moment and reiterate the fact of, in your moment of hurt, in this low moment, you were met with support when you needed it the most, when you went to that meeting. So many people are afraid to go to the meeting because they're afraid they're going to not get that support. That they're going to be.
You get the support if you put
Guess
yourself
what else
out there.
happened? You weren't rejected.
Yeah, that is true.
First time you were accepted?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is true. I didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
That's why I probably kept coming back.
Yep.
Kept coming back.
It's funny how that changes everything.
I was supported in that.
Because it's a
and not rejected.
process.
Yeah. So, but yeah, after that, shortly after I found my first sponsor, she told me one thing that stuck with me, and that is a disease can't hit a moving target, because I had a lot of problems, sulking and depression, and just laying around because I didn't know what to do with my hands. Just kind of like, whatever, don't know how to live this life sober, Been drunk since I was like 13, 14. But she didn't have time to do step work with me, so then by the time I was 4 months sober, I found my second sponsor. And I happened to know him from outside the program because he was a biker. He knew my ex-boyfriend, James, which is kind of weird how it worked out.
Yeah.
Because I needed someone to help me through that codependent obsession,
Right.
and someone who knew that world. So it really, really helped me a lot, and he became like a grandfather figure for me. He was 24. He was 24 years sober, been in the program for a long time, and he spoke a big book knowledge, and he seemed
Probably had
actually
a
really
ton of
happy. He kept saying, "You're gonna grow up. I'm gonna give you to God." That was one of the things he kept telling me, and we immediately went to work and we did AA history because. You can't just go and join the program if you don't even know why they exist. So he got me out of myself and working the AA history. And then my first assignment he ever had was, Madison, write down everything you bring to the table. And if you ever date another man, they better bring as much as you do
Or more.
or more. Never less, ever again. Because I'm dating men who don't have licenses, to drink all the time,
Don't have a
drive
car.
my car, living in my house. Running off, it's just silly,
This is why she's still single.
Yeah, but
She got a list.
yeah, I sure do.
Keep that list.
Amen.
But you know what? This man really taught me how to value myself for the first time and give myself standards. And I was also very impatient and ready for the program that we actually worked 4 to 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday, doing my step work.
My goodness.
He said, they're simple, but they're not easy. And I was like, well, let's go. Give it to me. Come on. I'm ready. I really was. I mean, obviously, we just heard my story. It's freaking a lot,
Right.
Just ready to go. So, I immediately learned.
And we knew that we know she'll listen to a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she
absolutely.
found-
Or somebody that has something that she needs.
That's right. So
Well-
she found a new coach.
I did. He had exactly what I wanted. And so I listened to him. I needed someone who also wasn't scared enough to give me a real mirror, because apparently I intimidate people and other women. I couldn't find a woman that would do that for me. So he was not afraid, gave me that mirror, because he knew how James was. So he was like, oh, I know exactly how to talk to you.
That's right.
So it worked out really well, and I felt like I really built myself. I learned how to love myself in the step work. He really built me one step at a time. But you know what? We did it like every other day, every 2 days. I was done with the step, next step, next step. It didn't matter, I was ready to go. By the time I got to step 4, I just sat around thinking about that one. And he was just fed up. Like, listen, I'm here. I'm taking a nap. You're going to have it done in 1 hour. And when I wake up, you better be done. And I was just like, oh, okay, I did it. I wrote so freaking fast, like my life depended on it. And I had no time to sit around. But I got it done. I got it done in 1 hour.
So, I mean, that's pretty interesting, though, because, like, a lot of people want to pick sponsors that are going to be soft on them.
Oh, no, I want it tough.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, people in the beginning, you don't realize that you need tough. Like, they want to go get somebody that they're friends with, that they can kind of
bond with.
Yeah, no. Mine was a complete jerk. Like, literally. I can remember one conversation I had with him, and it was just about something simple. He was like, he looked at me and he says, "You're going to go use again. Just go. Mm-hmm. Go back out there. Go ahead." And I was like, "Dude, you're not supposed to say that."
Oh, my sponsor said all the same stuff.
But he did it because he knew I would be defiant. I would be like, "Nah, you ain't telling me what I'm going to go do." Mm-hmm. But he knew that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's seen it before.
Yeah.
But I think he
had...
Like
reverse psychology kind of thing? Like, all right, go out and drink. Go out and do your coke,
He said, "Go ahead.
See you later."
He said, "Go ahead."
And I'm like, no, read with me. You know?
He's like, if you don't want to go do the steps that I'm asking you to do, he was like, just go ahead. Go ahead, get back out there in the street. I don't want to see you at another meeting.
Absolutely.
I was like, excuse me? He said, don't come to the next meeting if you don't do the steps. I was like,
gotta do the steps.
I was like, are you serious?
Steps change your life.
He was dead serious.
Yeah. He was very serious.
There's no standing still in recovery. Gotta be.
He kept telling me,
be moving forward, working the
there's
steps.
no break in them steps except for at 5. When you're done telling your story, you get 1 hour to relax, and the rest is go. And I'm like,
nice.
He ain't lying. It does say next, and then this thought brings us, and the next, and the next, and then at once we did this. There's no break.
Nope.
If you go in the history, Bill did his steps in 7 days.
And then it starts all over.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with recovery. It never ends.
No.
It's
just you got to clean that house, and then you learn how to live on a new journey with God and aligning your will with His, and how you can be that propulsion for God's will by aligning yourself with Him. And
That's
you
right.
get to learn every single day and grow every single day, and you have more freedom than you ever thought you would have.
Yep.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, so where are we at now?
Well, I just wanted to end with that, I actually finished all my step work at 5 months sober.
Awesome.
And so I worked with him for 2 months and like a week, and I had my psychic change. And I asked, and he had a little smirk, and he's like, "Are you recovered?" I slapped that table. I said, "Hell yeah." I was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "So that's it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You just mean I'm going to be aware, I'm going to grow in God's grace, and you've been watching me freak out about who I'm going to change into, instead of this manipulative, stuck-up girl. Now I get to be a part of God's kingdom, and I get to be aware and kind and a good person? What? You could have just told me that." He said, "No, you had to figure it out for yourself."
That's right.
Yep.
Well, there's a saying. It's like a good coach will. It's something like a good coach and a good teacher will show you where to look, but won't tell you the answer.
That's exactly what he did for me. Absolutely. Yep. It was very exhausting work, but it was worth it because I got to make all of the conclusions on my own.
That's right.
He gave you the map of the woods.
He did.
With the exit points.
That's right.
Now see if you can get to it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really annoying because he always knew what was going to happen next.
Well, yeah.
Well, it was annoying because you wanted to be right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Matti, as we wrap this thing
This
up,
has been an awesome story.
Thank you so much for coming out and sharing this, and thank you for being so open and vulnerable and sharing your story. And because you were so open and vulnerable, I want to continue a tradition of the podcast, and I want to give you just a few moments of an open mic. If there's somebody out there that's going through what you went through, what would you tell them?
What would you say to you?
This is what I would have liked to have been told when I was in the position I was at. We access a deep wisdom in our minds to get here. It's called the gift of desperation. I knew what I wanted. I ripped the Band-Aid off. I was done being miserable. I made the choice to stop sitting on the sidelines. Y'all, it takes work. And be teachable. You have to lay aside your prejudice and your bad attitude. And I came in as a selfish, spoiled, stuck-up girl. And today I am a compassionate, fiery woman who knows her worth. It's important to know that you will fail a lot. And it's important to make mistakes. make amends, carry on. It's important to ebb and flow like the ocean with our thoughts and feelings. Always think things through. There is no rush in life, and that it's about the quality of your life that matters. And when you chase material things, it completely diminishes your character, as we now know. And I do not live in the fast lane anymore, and I'm a firm believer that God can solve all my problems if He is sought first. So just remember, I mess up, I learn, but I also, to the best of my ability, implement everything that I've learned. And I think of what I can bring to a room or in any situation in my life, and I look for similarities in how to be of assistance with people. We can always rise from the ashes of our life, but the burning comes first in them steps. But for that part, you have to be brave. And willingness is doing what we have to do, whether we like it or not. I don't know about you all, but willingness, my life depends on that today. So I can align my will with God. So keep coming back to those meetings. Thank you all for listening.
You know, a lot of people ask how, and I think I've mentioned this before. Honesty, openness, willingness.
Yeah.
That's how you stay clean. That's how you stay sober.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Got to be honest with yourself, got to be open with others, and got to be willing to learn something new.
Absolutely. Being teachable was the biggest lesson because clearly I did not want to be teachable.
And to be teachable, we got to tell the pride to lower its head, and we got to put the ego to the side.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We have to become extraordinarily humble. Palmer.
You're the most humble person you'll ever meet.
This state's going to get struck by lightning on the slide.
All right, well, that's all we got for this episode of Unashamed Recovery Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope that you have found it helpful. I hope you have found it very encouraging. And if you're listening and still in the darkness of addiction, we hope that today's testimony has been a lighthouse guiding you out of that pit and into the hope of sobriety and recovery.
For more recovery content, visit our brand new website, unashamedrecovery.com. There you will find addiction resources, new and old episodes of the show, plus sobriety and faith recovery themed blogs to take you deeper into your sobriety and recovery journeys. You can even donate to the show to help us reach more people still lost in the darkness of addiction.
Also, check out more amazing recovery podcasts over at Take 12, Recovery Radio, Recovery Podcast Network. That link is in the show notes as well as under our partners page on the new website.
And that is all for this episode. Remember to stay sober, and above all else, to keep on 12th stepping as you stay
Unashamed.
We love you.
See you guys.
See you guys. Peace.